Let me tell you something. Most of us aren't burned out because we're doing too much. We're burned out because we refuse to set boundaries. And then we sit in silent resentment, pretending that everything is fine. Why is it that saying no feels like a crime, but letting people drain us feels absolutely normal? Like, why do we feel guilty when someone else crosses a line? Let's talk about it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited that you decided to join me for video number 5 of our Becoming Her series. And let me just tell you guys, we've been locked in. These topics have been topicking. Okay, I've been loving the deep dives, going into deep depth on a lot of topics that I'm passionate about and that I'm learning about. And today's video is no different. We have a bomb topic today, something that I have been truly working on towards my growth journey. But before I get a little bit ahead of myself, I want to introduce myself. If this is your first time seeing me, hello. My name is Taji, and I am your go-to girl for all things self-growth, self-love, and self-improvement. And I created this community for women like us that are striving to reach our highest potential and move towards our dream selves. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in or the journey that you find yourself on, then go ahead and come sit with us over here and press that subscribe button, okay? Today we are going to be talking about boundaries. And this topic is highly personal for me because setting boundaries has literally changed my life as a woman, as a mom, and just as a human being. And if you've ever felt guilty for saying no or scared to stand up for yourself, then this video is for you. I want to start by talking about what a boundary actually is. When I think of boundaries, I like to think of it as a fence around me. And this fence keeps the things that nurture me inside and the things that hurt me outside. And there are boundaries all around us, physical boundaries like actual fences, doors, signs that say do not enter. You can see those things. You know, like, oh, this is where I stop. I can't go beyond this point because it's a physical boundary in the world around you. But emotional, mental, and personal boundaries, those are not always visible. People don't look at you and say, oh, nope, she ain't going for that. Like, they don't automatically see you and know what your limits are. And not everybody's boundaries look the same. There's no universal etiquette code that people know to follow. So a boundary is basically you saying, this is where something ends for me. It's a clear internal line that protects your time, energy, peace, and value. They also help separate us from other people and craft our own identities. Without boundaries, people don't know how to treat you. And it's not necessarily because they're bad people, it's literally because they have no map. And if you don't define what's okay and what's not, then the world will decide for you. If you grew up not allowed to speak up, or if people-pleasing was your survival mode, then your boundary lines might still be completely invisible, even to you. So before we talk about setting boundaries with others, we have to talk about what one is and why the lack of them leads to exhaustion, frustration, and resentment. In order to do that, let's start with the truth that no one tells you, and that is that boundaries start with you. Before you can set boundaries with anybody else, you have to learn how to set them with yourself first. Why? Because your standard tells people exactly how they can treat you. People take cues from you, how you speak to yourself, how quickly you abandon yourself, how often you put your own comfort to the side in order to keep the peace. That becomes the blueprint for people to follow. A lot of us don't have people problems, we have self-abandonment problems. We cross our boundaries long before anybody else does. And the wild part is a lot of our boundary issues don't even look dramatic. It can be as simple as somebody saying something slick, judging your appearance, or disrespecting your time. And instead of acknowledging how we feel, we immediately excuse their behaviors. You'll catch yourself saying things like, oh, they didn't mean it. It wasn't on purpose. They're probably stressed. And we do that to keep them comfortable. But meanwhile, we're sitting in the discomfort, we're swallowing our hurt, we are betraying ourselves so that someone else doesn't feel awkward or upset. That's self-abandonment. You cannot enforce a boundary that you do not honor within yourself first. But once you decide this is not okay for me anymore, everything else will become more aligned. When you stop abandoning yourself, people will naturally fall in line, or they'll fall away. Either way, your peace is protected. A question that you may be having, because I know that this was a big question when I first started trying to enforce boundaries in my life, is if boundaries are so good for you, why are they so hard to set? A lot of us grew up in environments where speaking up wasn't allowed. We had to be agreeable, stay quiet, and not cause any problems. So now, as adults, anytime we try to stand up for ourselves, it feels disrespectful, but it's not. For me, when I was younger, I wasn't allowed to express myself. So when I became a mom at 19, I carried that into motherhood with me. And I remember a situation so clearly. When my son was about 1 or 1.5, there was a situation where he did something and there was an older person around me that didn't like what he did, and she put my child in timeout. And he sat on the couch and he cried his eyes out and he reached out for me, and I froze because I felt like I couldn't stand up to this person. Even though this was my child, I felt like I could not stand up to her. I could not set a boundary. I didn't even know what a boundary was at that point, but I know that I was frozen. I was frozen in, I don't want to be disrespectful. I just want to keep the peace. I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. So I'm just going to let her put my son in timeout. Even though he's crying for me, I'm going to just, I'm not going to interfere with that. And that was when I realized how dangerous not setting boundaries, not having boundaries is, especially when you're a mother and you have children that are not able to set their own boundaries. You have to set those boundaries for them. A lot of us were taught to keep the peace, don't rock the boat, don't correct people or tell people that they're wrong. So now setting boundaries feels scary and unfamiliar, when honestly, setting boundaries is the most loving thing that you can do for yourself. And it's the way to have the most authentic and open and real relationships with people that actually love and respect you and want to do right by you. When someone crosses a line with us and we don't address it, it doesn't just go away. Instead, we swallow it or stuff it inside of us. And what that does is it allows the conflict to take root inside of us. And when internal conflict sits too long, it turns into resentment, bitterness, and burnout. So now you're walking around with your face all twisted up, mad at the world, showing signs of passive and non-passive aggression, when all you needed to do was heal that conflict in a healthy way by having a clear conversation and expressing what you need by setting a boundary. So what do healthy boundaries actually look like? A healthy boundary is simply you being honest. Honest about what you're okay with, what you're not, and what you need in order to feel respected at all times. And boundaries don't need an attitude. You don't have to yell to set a boundary. You can still be soft, feminine, calm, and firm. A boundary is a conversation, not a fight. Another thing, very important, boundaries are followed by action, not repetition. For example, my son has a hard time keeping his room clean, and I go in there about twice a week and I say, you better clean up this room or I'm going to take that iPad. And I still have to remind him every few days because I haven't done that yet. I haven't taken the iPad yet. The same with setting boundaries with people. A boundary is only real when your actions match your words. When somebody keeps crossing a line, you don't repeat yourself. You're going to have to deliver the consequence to that boundary being crossed, whether that's removing something that you were supplying to them or adjusting their access to you. Boundaries protect your peace, not punish people. Healthy boundaries aren't about controlling others. They're about protecting your peace, your time, and your emotional energy. The right people who respect and care about your presence in their life won't be offended, and the wrong people will self-select out. saying no without guilt, not texting back immediately, leaving a conversation that drains you, ending a situation that no longer honors you, not allowing others to decide who you are. Those are all examples of healthy boundaries. So if you're on this journey of becoming her, remember that you cannot grow without setting boundaries. Boundaries are an act of self-love, and the version of you that you are becoming needs you to protect your peace. And that is all that I have for you guys today. If this video helped you, don't forget to like, leave a comment about a boundary that you're learning to set, share it with someone that needs to hear it, and subscribe so that you don't miss next week's Becoming Her episode. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.